Welcome to Convince Me from the Action Network. Exciting week 15. Betting windows are open. This is the best window in sports. We're going to get right to it. Dan Ravel, $67,000 richer after yesterday. Big win with his Northwestern Wildcats. Hopefully you watched that feed. Katie Rich Creek on the news desk. We're going to get right to the bets. I got Chris Raybon. I got Matthew Freeman. And I got Sean Corner. They're going to give me props, sides, and totals, everything we're doing. Picks, data, get it in the free award-winning Action Network app. Sean Corner, you are up first. And reminder, win real cash money if you can guess the exact number of yards for the player Sean Corner is about to name as his best prop. Reply to @Action Network HQ. Sean Corner, give it to me.
So my Sunday Night Football primetime prop is Nick Chubb over 73.5 rushing yards. Now, some books have 73.5. Others have moved it up to 74 or 75.5, so I'd hurry up on this one. So tonight's matchup is against the Giants, which there's nothing too imposing about this matchup. The Giants play pretty league average run defense. They're 14th in DVOA against the run, but Nick Chubb is anything but average. He's one of the best pure runners in the game, and he gets to play behind one of the best O-lines in the game as well. The Browns run the ball at the third highest rate, so we don't need to worry about them passing too much tonight. And Next Gen Stats has this metric called rushing yards over expected, where they measure, how many yards a ball carrier is expected to get based on the location, speed of their blockers and defenders. And over the 3 years Nick Chubb has been in the league, his first year, his rookie season, he ranked second in this metric. Last year he was third, and this year he's first by a wide margin. So just going to back up, like, he's one of the best pure runners in the game. And tonight's game script is perfect for him. The Browns are 6.5-point favorites. That is the sweet spot for Nick Chubb, just max workload spot. The Browns have won 5 games between 1 and 10 points, and he's averaged 118 yards in those spots. 4 other games, they've either blown teams out or lost. He's only averaged 74 yards. And, just being able to bet on the over on a running back in his prime in a perfect game script on Sunday Night Football, you can't beat that. So I would go with the over 74.5 yards for Nick Chubb tonight.
So I do love that. And I love the situation for the Browns because we saw what happened last week with the Browns and the Ravens. And like, the Browns started off, they were pounding the ball against the Ravens. Nick Chubb was having a fantastic first quarter. And then all of a sudden, Kevin Stefanski started putting the ball in Baker Mayfield's hands in the middle of that first quarter. And all of a sudden, that's when the Browns kind of started to fall apart, and it became a game, right? Where if they had just let Nick Chubb carry the rock, then they're probably going to have better success against the Ravens early on, and it might not end up being the game that it ended up. I love Nick Chubb in this spot. I love it mainly because I feel like the Browns realize giving the ball to Baker Mayfield instead of Nick Chubb is a bad idea. Don't forget, go to @Action Network HQ, reply with the total number of yards, rushing yards you think Nick Chubb will have tonight. You can win some money. Matthew Freeman, I'm not encouraged by what you're going to tell me at all. I actually think I'm going to hate it.
I think you should love it, Chad, because it's going to win. And right now, I'm looking at Saints Chiefs, a potential game of the year candidate, and Alvin Kamara really stands out. I love him over 6.5 receptions. I also like the over on his yardage prop. There are 4 main points to this bet. First of all, Kamara's market is naturally depressed right now because he's had quarterback Taysom Hill for the past month, and Hill has largely ignored him. On top of that, we have the return of quarterback Drew Brees, who targets backs more than most passers, and he has an especially strong connection with Kamara, and we've seen that in the past. Third, and this is maybe the most important point, wide receiver Michael Thomas is out. And in weeks 2 through 8, in the 6 games with Brees, but without Thomas, Kamara had a team-high 26% target share that came out to 9.7 targets per game and 8.3 receptions per game. In every game but one, he had at least 8 receptions. And then fourth, the Chiefs' defense is schemed to funnel targets short. And that means the Chiefs are weak against running backs. They rank number 31 in pass defense DVOA against the position. Everything aligns for Kamara in this spot. Over 6.5 receptions is a gift. I think this line should be 7.5. So absolutely love it.
Raybon, you were shaking your head in the affirmative furiously when Sean Connery was talking about Nick Chubb. You did not respond at all when Friedman was talking about Alvin Kamara. Give me your take, and then you will all get a chance to rip on each other, and I will make my final choice. But give me your take on your player prop for today.
Well, Chad, I am going with reliable Ryan Tannehill over 1.5 touchdown passes at -130. I would bet this at over 1.5 at any juice. It should be too flat. He's thrown multiple touchdown passes in 19 of 23 regular season starts as a Tennessee Titan. That's 83%. Detroit, 26 touchdowns allowed to quarterbacks, tied for 5th most in the National Football League. The Titans are nearly a 10-point favorite in a game with a total well over 50. They're probably going to put up 30-plus points, 4+ touchdowns. That means Derrick Henry can still get his 2. Tannehill will get his 2. That's what he does week in, week out. I'm not like Matthew Friedman with the A.J. Brown thing. I don't know who they're going to go to. Probably Kari Blasingame and Jeff Swaim, but he's throwing 2.
Why were you shaking your head so furiously in the affirmative for a corner and ignoring everything Friedman said?
It wasn't intentional. I think Kamara's receiving upside is definitely enhanced with Drew Brees at quarterback because Drew Brees can't throw the ball down the field. But I really do like Sean Corner's prop. If you read my Sunday Night Football breakdown for tonight's Giants-Browns game, in it, I mentioned that I like this prop, the over on Chubb, more than a side or a total in that game. The Giants over the last 7 weeks, 30th in explosive rushing rate, explosive run play rate allowed. They're 30th in the league. So even though they've played solid run defense, they're giving up big plays. So I like Corner's prop as well.
All right. So listen, Friedman, do you want to weigh in and defend yourself right now before I make my pick?
I don't need to defend myself. They're all good plays. You're going to go with the one you want to go with. It'll be great on my end for you to fade me. I will feel even better about Kamara over 6.5.
All right. Listen, the truth is, as I should be doing every single week with these, I should just be parlaying them because they consistently win. They're all really good picks. I actually don't hate any of them, but only one of these picks is graded a 10 out of 10 at Fantasy Labs right now. That is Ryan Tannehill over 1.5 touchdown passes. So I'm going with Ryan Tannehill. Raybon, you win round 1 of Convince Me. Darren Ravel, you got to give me something from the news desk here.
Okay, so Saints Chiefs, obviously Friedman says it might be the game of the year. 90% of the money right now is on the Chiefs at PointsBet. The line hasn't really moved. It's at 3, but what has moved is, it's gone from -115 to +105. Listen, I think the more interesting thing is on the total, which started at 51.5, then went to 52.5. This morning it hit 53.5. And not only is it at 53.5, if you want the over, it's -115. So is this thing going to 54, 54.5? So 97% of the money at PointsBet is currently on the over. Obviously, people just think about the quarterbacks and Mahomes and think it's somehow even 53.5 is free money.
All right, let's talk about the sides. Corner, I'm looking at my notes here. You're up first, and I'm squinting only because I cannot believe you're going to ask me to try to make a decision on the game you're going to talk about.
Right. Well, the thing with taking the Washington football team +6.5 today is you get to bet on a home dog that the public hates. 60% of the bets have come in on Seattle here, 87% of the money. I think people are just looking at this and going, well, it's Russell Wilson versus Dwayne Haskins, so it's free money, right? Wrong. And I'm not here to convince you that Dwayne Haskins will live up to his first-round pedigree today. But I am here to convince you that Washington's defense is going to make things very difficult for Russell Wilson today in the pocket. Seattle's had a ton of players banged up heading into this game, 3 of them starting O-linemen. Brandon Shell looks like he's actually going to be out today. So Cedric Ogbuehi is expected to replace him, and that could pose some significant issues for Wilson, who has a tendency of holding onto the ball too long. So, with Chase Young just playing out of his mind right now, he's really becoming a difference maker. Jonathan Allen's having a career year. Montez Sweat, just, the strength of this the Washington football team is their defensive front. So, this is a game where I could see Russell Wilson getting sacked 4 to 6 times. That's well within the realm of possibilities here. I expect this game to be similar to what we saw the week where the Seahawks played Colt McCoy and the Giants and lost outright. I really do think it's going to be one of those lower scoring games where, Washington doesn't need Dwayne Haskins to do much. They've won 4 straight games with Alex Smith not really doing much other than not turning the ball over. So I think, if Haskins, they can establish run early and just keep him from, throwing too many interceptions or whatnot, I think they will be able to hang in close. And 6.5 is way too many points here. So I love them. I would bet this down probably to 4.5, actually.
I love everything you're saying, except every time you mention the name Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah, I'm sorry
Alex
about
Smith
that.
He is a professional football quarterback. And I take issue with the fact you saying he's not doing much to win them games. He's just not losing them games. That is half the battle, especially when Dwayne Haskins is a guy who will go on the field and will try to lose them games. And
Right.
So it's really hard for me to back the Redskins or the Washington football team in this spot when Dwayne Haskins is going to be the quarterback.
I will say this just real quick.
Okay,
I prefer Dwayne Haskins when they're more of an underdog because he does have that backdoor capability of airing it out to Terry McLaurin, where I like them better when Alex Smith is quarterback when they're like a favorite and trying to preserve a lead. So that's why in this case, I don't think Haskins is as big of an issue as people think.
Friedman, normally oh my God.
Throwing the flag, Chad. You said the R word. You said the R word, Chad.
I
got to throw the flag here, man.
I almost did too. It's tough.
I want to throw the flag in that ugly sweater, and we can get to that. Friedman, try to like wipe the stink off the screen from what Corner just tried to get me to do.
I can't, Chad. You're going to hate my bet. That was part of the motivation for choosing it. I like Eagles at 6.5. It's one of the bets I made early in the week. I'm encouraged by quarterback Jalen Hurts, who was good enough as a passer and dynamic as a runner last week. He has 2018 end of rookie year Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen vibes. He's unpolished, but he's promising. And last week, the Eagles had one of their best offensive games in the season in just his first start. And that was against a Saints defense that's one of the best in the league. And we've seen the Eagles have success before without benched quarterback Carson Wentz and head coach Doug Peterson's 14 games without wins, and that's including their postseason run a few years ago. He's 10-4 against this spread. With Hurts early in his career, the Cardinals, I think they're going to struggle to figure him out because they have little to go on. And Cardinals head coach Cliff Kingsbury, although I like him, he has a remarkably Jason Garrett-esque ability to underperform in positive circumstances. As a home favorite, he's 1-4 against the spread. You put all of that together, and the Eagles should probably be getting 4 or 4.5 points and not the 6 or 6.5 points that they are getting out there. Best of all, Chad, again, I'm expecting you not to like this, and that makes me all the more bullish on the Eagles.
Well, you're right. I don't hate it. It's not as disgusting as what you normally try to convince me of. I do have a bias against rookie quarterbacks in their first start on the road, especially after they've sort of had that chance to come out and everybody sort of decides they're going to pile on the rookie quarterback. I loved the Eagles last week. I love them a little bit less this week. Raybon, talk to me.
Well, I heard you try to throw shade at my ugly sweater. I was going to say it was in honor of Matthew Friedman's bets, but I actually like the Eagles this week. I'm on the Eagles as well. It was one of the first bets I made as well. I talk about it on this week's podcast. So no shade, Friedman. But, Chad, you said you had a bias against rookie quarterbacks going on the road. What about a bias against rookie quarterbacks in their first start against a Bill Belichick defense? Because shouts to Stuckey on this one, who pointed this out on the podcast. Since Russell Wilson beat Belichick in 2012, rookie quarterbacks against New England, 1-16 straight up. The Patriots are 1.5 point underdogs. Lock it in.
Yeah, it's kind of the right side. And And I honestly don't even need like a secondary convince me conversation here, because there are too many variables for me working against what corner wants me to do. I cannot take Dwayne Haskins, even though I think that front four for Washington is amazing. And you mentioned Montez Sweat corner, like he's playing as well as Chase Young, only Chase Young is the guy getting all the props right now, but that front four is going to be sick for many, many years. And I cannot back a rookie quarterback, even in a road environment that is as sort of comfortable as this one, especially when the Cardinals have so much to play for right now. So for me, it's got to be Bill Belichick. It's got to be Bill Belichick as an underdog. It's got to be Bill Belichick as against a rookie quarterback. And honestly, like, you and Stucky talked about this on the Action Network podcast. This is where strength meets strength, right? Like it's the Dolphins pass defense is really good, but you don't need to worry about a pass defense against the Patriots because their passing offense is so bad. So you really got to worry about the rushing game. And that's where I think the Patriots have the advantage over the Dolphins defense. In addition to Tua just not being that effective and that offense not being very effective.
I'll give everybody a bonus, Chad, since it's the holidays. So I mentioned rookie quarterback struggle. We just took the over on Tannehill. In the last 16 games, 14 of the rookie quarterbacks to face Belichick have failed to throw for multiple scores. You can get to under 1.5 touchdowns at about minus 155. That's kind of like the reverse of the Tannehill. I'd bet that down to any juice. So bonus for you. And a trend. Bill Belichick, 19-5 against the spread in his career, coming off a double-digit loss.
Last week, Raybon, you were all in on Cam Newton unders. This week, you're all over everything that the Patriots defense can do against Tua. I am with you. I am on the Patriots, +2, +2.5, whatever you're getting at whatever book. Katie, anything you can tell me right now to make me feel better about the 2 Raybon picks that I have backed, or make me feel worse about anything Friedman and Corner have tried to convince me to do that I've ignored?
I have something for the latter, but first I have one quick bonus for everyone who's watching. We have 80% off annual pro subscriptions today only. So go to our site for that. Nice
I paid the full price. Chad, I want a refund.
As for the NFC East, Chad, since week 8, NFC East teams are 9-6 against the spread outside of their division, covering by 4.1 points per game. So again, it was for the latter, but.
So basically what you're saying is back the Eagles, back the Washington football team.
You messed up, but it's okay.
Well, I don't know if I've messed up yet. We won't know until the end of the day. That's the beauty of the game. Let's go to the totals. Corner, what do you got for me? Let's see if you can redeem yourself. Try to win one of these things.
So I love the under for the Jets-Rams game. I mean, I like it at 43.5, but it's up to 44.5. Now for some reason. But this game, the Rams are 17-point favorites. I'm in line with the market with that. I think they'll win this game pretty easily. They should be able to put up points pretty early, but then I think they're going to lean on Cam Akers here and have a pretty vanilla offense and, run out the clock. So on the other side of the ball, it's hard to imagine how the Jets are going to score here exactly. They're dead last in points per drive by a wide margin, I must add. And, the Rams allow the fewest points per drive. So it's really hard to see how Sam Darnold's going to move the ball today. The great thing with betting the Jets under is Adam Gase, they could be down 17 points and he'll still be running a balanced offense. They actually run at the 6th highest rate when trailing. So it's one of those things where, they'll be down 24-0 and they're still feeding Frank Gore. It's one of the most amazing things you've ever seen. So I have no doubt that they're going to be trying to hit the under as well. And, the Rams, they're looking ahead to week 16 against Seattle. So again, they're going to run a more vanilla offense, just try to run out the clock and get the hell out of there. So they will love to play in a low scoring game. So that's why I love betting under 43.5. 43 is one of the most key numbers when it comes to totals. But, the line is up to 44.5 now, so it's even more valuable, in my opinion.
All right, Friedman. I don't hate that one. I like everything Corner just said. Friedman, give me your take.
All right, Chad, as bad as the Jason Garrett, Daniel Jones, play caller quarterback combo has been this year, the Freddie Kitchens, Colt McCoy duo might be worse. And that points me to the under in this Sunday Night Football Giants-Browns game, under 44.5. The Giants have backups at both offensive coordinator and quarterback. And as much as I love the theoretical poetry of Kitchens and McCoy teaming up to put on a show against their former team. I think this Giants offense is really going to underwhelm. The Browns have a top 5 defensive line. The Giants probably have a bottom 5 offensive line. So McCoy is going to be under pressure for a lot of the game. The Browns are also likely to get back their number 1 cornerback, Denzel Ward. So I think they are really going to slow down the Giants. And then on offense, as Sean mentioned earlier when talking about the Nick Chubb prop, I think we're going to have a really run-focused game for the Browns. And so I think we're going to see slow-paced type of style of offense. And I think that will help the under. So I would take this to 42. It's at 44.5 right now. I think there's a lot of value in this number.
All right. Raybon, give me.
I mean, I feel like you're just not going to pick mine no matter what, because you already picked my first two, but I'm doubling down here on this likelihood of Tua Tagovailoa struggling against this Belichick defense. I mentioned it, 14 of the last 16 rookie quarterbacks failed to throw multiple scores against a Belichick defense. In the last matchup when a rookie quarterback, Justin Herbert, rookie of the year front runner, a couple weeks ago, faced a Belichick defense, they didn't score a single point. And you look at these two teams and how they play, they both are relatively slow paced in the first half. The under for the full games for combined for New England and Miami is 17-9 this season. That's 65%. And remember, Bill Belichick and Brian Flores, the two head coaches, know each other well. Flores used to work under Belichick. And they're two defensive-minded coaches. It's the second divisional matchup. The first one, the teams combined for 32 points. It should be just as tight here, and just not expecting a lot of points in this one. So give me the under 41.5 in Patriots-Dolphins. I would bet it down to 40.5.
All right, well, you're right. I'm not going to choose yours, but not because I already went with you for the two other ones. I'm actually completely conflicted on the two games that Corner and Friedman gave me. So Raybon, I need you to convince me on which one of those two I should take. Either Jets, Rams under 44.5, or I got the Browns and the Giants. I think it was under 43. Is that what you had it at, Friedman?
44.5.
44.5.
So I'm really conflicted on Giants Browns. I talk about it in the write-up, but I'm in line with the market here, because the one issue with the Giants is that they are missing James Bradbury, their top corner and best defensive player, and their slot corner Darnay Holmes. So that means that Baker Mayfield could have some success throwing the ball, which is not always a given. And also you have, Chubb with the explosive play potential could get a backdoor, over cover late. So I would lean Sean's of choosing between the two, because I really think the Rams could shut out the Jets. And the Seahawks rolled the Jets 40-3 last week. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a very similar score, but the Jets run defense is top 10. So that should help in terms of the Rams not being able to totally pull away, as Sean alluded to late in the game. So if I had to choose between the two, I would choose the under, just because there's too many variables in Giants Browns. Freddie Kitchens and Colt McCoy might actually be better than Jason Garrett and Daniel Jones.
I am 100% with you. I actually love the Rams Jets under for all the reasons you just said. I am going with that, especially since that number's gone up. So now I can get it at 44.5 instead of at 43.5. Friedman, you are getting shellacked in this round to convince me. You are getting shellacked for the entire game, because you are 0 for 3, my friend. Corner, I'm going with the Jets and the Rams under 43.5. Katie, anything else to add here?
Yeah, I have real quick news. Good news queued for you no matter which of these you went with, because all three of these games feature at least one team in the top 3. Best under teams of 2020. The Giants are 9-3-1 to the under, while the Rams and Patriots are both 9-4.
All right. I like that. Darren Ravel, the most popular man on Twitter, and I mean that with all sincerity today, because the last 24 hours for you have been trending around the country because of your hedge and your cash out with PointsBet on your Northwestern futures bet. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Give me some news.
I am betting 220,000. No, just kidding. So we got 3 big bets from BetMGM. 220,000 to win 200 on 49ers -3, 220,000 to win 200 on Bucks -6, and 200,000 to win 200,000 on Saints +3. I just got the numbers in from DraftKings. The big games with the big spreads are getting all the money. Rams 88% of the money at 16.5, and the Steelers game 89% of the money at 14.5. The one game that has the most money on the under is also the Jets Rams. The under 43.5, 64% of the money currently on the under there.
Wow. Corder, does that make you change your tune at all that the public is backing your side?
Not on that one. No, sometimes that scares me away, but I think they're right on that one.
All right. Very good. So then my final best bets, I am taking Ryan Tannehill over 1.5 passing touchdowns. I am taking the New England Patriots +2, +2.5 visiting the Miami Dolphins. And I'm taking the Jets Rams under 44.5. Although I gotta say, in defense of Friedman, I don't hate Alvin Kamara over 6.5 receptions. And in defensive corner, I don't hate Nick Chubb over 73.5, over 74.5 rushing yards. Not a bad parlay to go with all 3 of those. This has been Convince Me from the Action Network for Sean Corner, Matthew Friedman, Chris Raybon, Katie Rich Creek, and Darren Ravel. Enjoy the day, folks.